kind of goes maybe to the next point. So yesterday, a new Gallup poll came out. Okay, if you look at this Gallup poll, this is literally from yesterday. Americans trust in mass media from 72 to 2024. It officially hit the lowest in the history. We're talking ever. Not one of the lowest. This is the lowest ever in the history of America. Americans don't trust mass media anymore. And even recently, I don't know if you saw the numbers that came out 2 weeks ago. I'm sure you follow some of this stuff. Every one of the guys at CNN, MSNBC, they're all getting a lower salary when they're renewing their contract.
Right,
they're not getting paid the kind of money they were making.
Yeah.
And by the way, you may not like me saying this to you, but I think I kind of want to see your reaction to this. I know a lot of people will say, well, he has, XYZ amount of felonies charged, 91, 53 were dismissed, 32 is this, and 12 are the ones that are remaining. I think the only one that Letitia James, Jack Smith, and maybe even Fannie, if they wanted to, claim that you did commit a crime, is you kind of did kill mainstream media. If you.
All right, we're on the Patrick Bet David podcast today, and as you can see, he's got a very special guest, former president and perhaps future president Donald Trump. So they were just talking about how the mainstream media has, or confidence, the Americans' confidence in the mainstream media has hit an all-time low. Really big surprise there. I'm not surprised. I myself, have been going off American media. I mean, it really hit me hard in during Trump's first campaign. It was just obvious. It was just completely obvious. A lot of people had mistrust in the media before that. I hadn't really thought about it before then, to be honest. Not much. I mean, I suppose I knew that shady things went on in the media, but it was certainly with his campaign. That was one of the great things about his first campaign. It just pulled them all out of the wall. All the fake news, super biased media. They just showed themselves for who they were. So let's see where this conversation goes.
If you think about it.
I did.
And that could be a crime for those guys.
I'm very proud of it.
And I want to show you this clip because this is the first time ever the phrase fake news was ever used. And from this moment on is when the decline started. Rob, if you can go ahead and play this clip.
Since you're attacking us, can you give us a question? Mr. President-elect.
Go ahead.
Mr. President-elect, since you are attacking our news organization, can you give us a chance?
Your organization
You
is
are attacking
terrible.
our news organization.
Your organization.
Can you give us a
Coming
chance to ask a question, sir?
Go ahead.
Sir, can you state,
Quiet.
Mr. President-elect,
Go ahead.
can you state
She's asking
categorically,
a question.
Mr.
Don't be rude.
President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be
You're
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
Can you
No,
give
I'm
us
not
a
going to give you a
question?
question. I'm not going to give you a
Can
question.
you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir.
Oh, it's a classic. That will never get old. And that idiot, is that Jim Acosta? Is that who that is from CNN? Absolute classic. Love it. You got to love Trump.
Go ahead.
Can you state categorically that nobody... No, Mr. President-elect, that's not
Go ahead.
appropriate.
Mr. President-elect, that's not appropriate. What a wimp. What a pussy.
So if you can
But
pause it
isn't
there.
that disgusting? Think of it. And that would never happen to a Democrat. But isn't that disgusting? He's a lowlife, the guy, and as you know. But and he has his own show. He gets no ratings at all. Nobody on CNN gets ratings. But isn't that a disgusting? I'm just watching that, and isn't it a shame that people can behave that way against the president? And I think I think I'm responsible for those numbers up there where they went down. And frankly, I'm proud of it because I also am responsible for the term fake news. And that's a great term, but it's not strong enough. I think it's corrupt news is a better term, but it doesn't play as well. But they're corrupt people and disgusting people. But he is, he wasn't as bad as some. I mean, in a certain way, he was louder, but he wasn't as smart as some. I mean, some are much smarter. He's not as smart.
Did you think you were going to say fake news, or was it just kind of came out and then it stuck? You're like, this is going to stick. Was it intentional?
I don't know if that's the first time I've used it, but I do get credit for having been an originator of the term. I mean, a lot of times I have a very fertile mind. I come up with very good names for people.
You're very creative.
Pocahontas,
Yes.
lots of good names. But, I don't know if that's the first time, but I thought of that term often. And more so as I was running. I actually used to get great press. when I was an entrepreneur. I would get very glamorous press, very beautiful press. I went the exact opposite, and I was amazed. And I really learned how corrupt it was. I didn't think of it as that corrupt because I'd do something and they give me credit. But no, I had a very different life actually when you think about it. But then I run for president. So 92% of the people that run for presidents, 92% were politicians and 8% were generals. So I wasn't a politician, I wasn't a general. So I was the only one that wasn't in that group. No, there were no admirals. They were all either politicians or they were sort of an interesting point. Most people don't know that. Some people said, that's interesting.
That
Other
makes
people
sense
say
because
that's...
even Reagan would be a politician because he was a two-term governor.
Well, he was a politician.
Right, he was a politician,
He was a governor. There were some that were businessmen, but they then ran for the Senate or they were in Congress, and they went from there to the presidency. But nobody ever went right to the presidency. I never ran for office. All of a sudden, I'm president.
Well, that's a good point he's making. He was absolutely one of a kind back then in his first candidacy and first presidency.
And I really learned about the press early and the hard way because I went from one extreme to the other. I got great press. And then all of a sudden, I was treated like by a moron like that. And I fought them very hard. They're very dishonest. They're very corrupt. Not all of them, but a big percentage of them. I would say in the 80s, that's a lot. That's a lot. Big percentage. They're very corrupt. Very corrupt.
Have they always been? Has it always been the case? You've been around media, TV.
I don't think it's ever
life.
been like this. Yeah, I've been around it for a long time. I don't think it's ever been like this.
When do you think it
when
flipped?
I started off, Patrick, I used to have a story written about me. And without fail, somebody would call after the story was written but not published. And they were called fact checkers. Hello, sir. We're calling about a story that we wrote about you. Is it true that you own this? And is it true that you did this? And that you spent X dollars? Could we check that number? Blah, blah, blah. And it would go on for a while to a point where you'd get somebody else to just do it. But without fail, I'd have, if there were any details in a story, not always, but if there were any details, always, and they would call fact checkers. Hello, sir. My name's Jim Smith. I'm a fact checker for the New York Times. And they check the facts of a story. And I think they at least were trying to be real. I haven't had a fact checker call me in 30 years. They don't call anymore.
Do you
They
think
used to
that's
call
because
all
of the
the time.
Fairness Doctrine Act of 1987? Because prior to that, the media platforms had to actually give both sides of the story. And then once that was dropped, they lost the accountability. They could say whatever they want to say. And it was kind of free-for-all. Let me go after them. But for you, when you became a president, if someone's running for office, you have to sit there and think about issues. Here's what I'm running on. Wall, border, economy, XYZ. Great. Obama, I'm going to go after healthcare.
Yeah.
Jimmy Carter, I'm going to go human rights. You pick and choose what you're running for. But there's also an element of who are going to be my allies, who are going to be my enemies. Did you sit there and say, the enemy of the people is media, I'm going to go after them? Or did you say, no, this happened accidentally? Was this intentional or was it accidental?
I think it's just long-term happened. It morphed into it. I don't think they said...
I'm talking
but
specifically
I can tell
for you, though.
Yeah. For me, look, I'm the worst case because there's nobody been abused like I have. And I don't think, although I guess probably some, but for a shorter period of time. There's nobody for over such a long...
Who would you put? You even thought about it. Who do you think?
I'd have to think, short-term, people have been abused. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like former President Trump misunderstood his question there. Patrick Bet-David was asking whether Trump himself made a concerted effort to destroy the American public's, or to reveal, I guess you could say, just how desperately base and unreliable and corrupt the American media are. But he's got it turned around, yeah. But I think it's absolutely he must be the most attacked guy ever, or the most attacked politician ever, for sure. He's got to be the most attacked president. Let's be more specific. because from day one it was just relentless.
Over one deal and they're gone,
okay.
or something.
I got it.
But I've been doing this for a long time, and I've abused them also. So I do that.
But did you target them and say, I'm going to go attack media and I'm going to go after them? Is that part of strategy that you had? Or no, that was just,
No.
if you come after me, I'm going to come after you?
I think it's a natural instinct with me, like it would be for you and other people that know how to win a little bit.
Sure.
No,
Yeah, there we go. I mean, he's just that kind of guy. He's a fighter. Clearly, Trump is like that. He probably will be. He'll treat you with respect, but if you don't treat him with respect, he'll come out fighting. You tap him, and he'll punch you back, and they deserve it. Yeah, the mainstream media, they deserve. Yeah, they deserve all the contempt that the more and more Americans are showing for them. There's not, unfortunately, here in the unnamed Western European country where I live, I don't think confidence in the media has sunk to that sort of level, but I think it's happening. I would have to look up see if there's any polls like that here, but it's clearly well advanced, and rightfully so in the United States. So anyway, that's a nice little interview between Patrick Bet-David and Donald Trump. Let me know if you like this kind of content. If you have anything to say about this in the comments, feel free to comment below, and make sure to hit that like and subscribe so I can keep growing the channel and make more content for you.